It is the 3rd of December 2022, and on this day we always commemorate on the people with disabilities as we raise awareness to the public that these people do exist in our own communities, and we appreciate it because we are all people and we all deserve the same rights. So on this day we also appreciate the different rights that we accord to the people with disabilities in our communities, protect their rights, and also show that they also add a lot to our own economical development and any other aspect within our own communities. So today, as Barra University of Science and Technology, we join the globe, still on the 16 days of activism, but as we celebrate this day for the people with disabilities, we are here as a big team. ATTV has had a privilege of hosting these incredible members from the university and from within Barara to talk about this great day. You are highly welcome.
Thank you.
So to take you through the people that I have hosted today, I have Mr. Mugume Hinduza Abel, the Education Officer in charge of special needs of Barara District. You are highly welcome.
Thank you, Bridget.
All right. And then we have Mrs. Stella Dusabe Yarugaba, the Administrator Dean of Students Office, and she is in charge of the people living with disabilities at MUST and also the Council Representative for people living with disabilities. You are welcome.
Thank you.
And we also have another guest of the day who is Mr. Mwanga Justice, and he is an advocate for the students living with disabilities. You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
All right, just to dive into the topic of the day, which is inclusiveness of people with disabilities within our own communities, within our own transformative development and finding solutions. This brings these people to the show. So allow me to just dive into part of your personal space, Mr. Abel.
Yes, please.
Yes, I do not want to make a mistake in pronouncing your name. Hinduza.
Yes.
Okay. Allow me to just dive a little bit into your personal space. I saw you move in with some clutches.
Yes, please.
Were you born like this, or it just came at a time when you had already grown up?
Okay, thank you so much, Bridget. I was born free. Then after 3 months, I acquired this disability. So in any case, I largely attribute that one maybe to could have been the cause of polio, because by then they used to vaccinate against polio slightly later, unlike it is at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you think this is attributed to the polio and the delay to vaccinate?
Most likely, that's what I think.
Okay, like at what age was it?
After 3 months after birth.
You got it 3 months
After birth, yes. But I was born free. Then after 3 months, I did not fall sick as such. 2 years. Yeah, by 2 years, of course, my parents had to prepare me somewhat like a walking stick. By the time I really got to know, I found myself using a walking stick. Yes.
A walking stick for some time, and then later you were like, I should get this crutch.
Yes, actually, there were some modifications, from time to time. But I began with a walking stick, just a local walking stick. Then I acquired this one just almost somewhat like 17 years ago.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. So to just proceed from there, you get a walking stick. How was it when you were maybe studying? How was it with the people that you studied with? How was the whole environment?
Wow. Actually, I have to tell you, it was not an easy situation, because by then, point one, whenever I would go, we used to walk long distances to schools, because I have to tell you that I would walk somewhat like almost 4 kilometers from home to school, and it was not an easy task to me. However, I'm glad some teachers, whenever I would come late, some teachers, not all teachers, Some teachers would not mind about my late coming. They would interpret it and they would allow me in. But, however, there are some who were really a little bit, hard, I must call them, and they never wanted me to be late. And at times it was inevitable to me. I couldn't really make it to the time they probably wanted. However, I'm not saying that I was a habitual latecomer as such, but at least I would ensure that I come in time. Then secondly, there was a lot of labeling onto me, being called all sorts of names. Whoever wanted would call me any name, but most of the names they would call me, most of them I must say, they were not all that positive. However, I used to have some 2 teachers. I can still recall of one teacher actually by name of Muhindo. He supported me so much. Right away from P1 up to P3. It's when he left at the school in which I was. And but he was really so supportive to me. I still can recall. But of course he passed on. May his soul rest in peace. But that's all. And maybe let's say on the experience with the community members. Whenever you'd be going to school or coming back from school, some people who would meet me on the way sometimes would discourage me by telling me not to really to manage, that the distance was really long, and I would not mind much. I'm so proud of my parents who kept supporting me, encouraging me, and I was not dull in class even. Most of my teachers, in fact, there are some teachers who used to like me because of my performance, not because of what I am, because they wanted, to say something about my performance. Yeah, because at times there were some teachers who would call me their own names, which I never liked, but performance remained performance. I used to try. That's why I think I'm here. Yeah, that's all I can say.
Okay, thank you for sharing, and thank you for also allowing me to get into your space.
That's great.
Okay, Mrs. Stella Dusabi Yargava, I would also like to get a little bit into your personal space, since we are having this day celebrated and commemorating on the visibility of people that we have seen excel, and yet they are having some disability. How has been life as you've been growing? How has the whole sphere been? How have you, your education, now you are at work, how has it been living with disability?
Thank you very much, Bridget. To me, I was not born disabled. It just came about when I was already working here at Mbara University in 2008, May. Thereafter, since there was no policy, nothing to do with the disability, I faced a lot of challenges, from being forced to stay at home, not working. For about around 11 years, I was not working. But thank God, in June 2019, the policy was passed. And by that time, that's when I came back to work in October 2016, though it was very difficult, because originally what was applicable here, they would not look at it as it is possible for someone who is disabled to do something. They would look at you as someone who is actually who does not measure the standards of the job description and all that. But I thank God, when I came back, there were some adjustments and I was given duties according to my ability, and I'm now moving on very well. I thank Mbara University very much, because they embraced the disability policy and they are implementing it very well.
So when you came back, at first it was challenging, but then they later took you up.
Yes.
Can you help us, take us through how Mbara University has been so inclusive and how it has created that favorable environment for people with disability?
Yes. On the side of staff, I would say it is very much inclusive because I'm not the only one who is disabled. We are about 4 registered, and we all have different types of disabilities. But we are given work according to our abilities, and we are measured according to our abilities, not that we are strained or given too much what we cannot manage. Then on the student side, it is too much inclusive that it has just started, but at least we are at an implementation stage, like stage 2. The first stage is over. The application of the office for disability was created. It resides in the Dean of Students office. The students are welcome on government sponsorship. They come on the disability ticket. They are even financed by government somehow, though the facilitation is not enough, but it is there. We thank God it is there. Then other students also come in, and staff are sensitized since the disability policy came into place. The sensitization has been going around, and staff are aware. We have such people in our classes everywhere, so they talk to them and see how to help them. We write to them where need be, where they can be assisted. If it is like sitting in front, we write to the faculty concerned. If it is like writing slow in the examination, we write to the examination management, and so on. So the policy is working, and we have even the guild office have given us a ministry for disability. So we are at a very good level of development.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. Since now you have our minister, she should have also come along, or he, I don't know.
He's very far on the internship.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, to the advocate for the people living with disability at MAST, are you a student? Are you a lecturer? You'll forgive me if I term it. I don't term it well. A student?
Well, I am a student.
Oh, okay. So I see you are an advocate. We've always talked about disability, we've talked about impairment, we've talked about special needs, but sincerely speaking, we do not know what exactly this is. How do you differentiate these students that come to the university with impairments, disability, or what does it mean anyway?
Well, thank you so much. My name is Justus Wanga,
Yes.
and I'm a student
Okay.
at Mara University, Science and Technology. Well, right direct to your question, what does it mean? Exactly, that's our problem. That's where we found the biggest problem. Trying to explain to students, trying to tell them that actually this is what we mean. For example, students who come in the university, especially the new ones, find it hard to enroll or even show up as students with special needs because they exactly don't know what is included in this policy. So the question you've asked, I would term it as something, anything on someone's body. It could be psychological, it could be physical, and it lets you use a crutch or a wheelchair. Like we've seen so many students in MAST. We know them, we've seen them, and they are moving on very well. It could be something that is a disease, and it's very chronic. It keeps coming back, and it's preventing a student from positively or continuously progressing with their academics. You find that they are within numerous episodes of maybe attacks, or they are in numerous, they are ever having a challenge because of this particular, for example, if someone has, let me say sickle cell. Sickle cell is a disability, and it equally disturbs that person, just like somebody who is maybe lame and is having accessibility problems. But we thank MUST that at least they have tried, just like Madam Stella addressed in 2019 while the policy was being introduced. And I happen to be a focal person myself. We were together with the late Janet, if you all remember, and we looked for so many people to come on board, so that these were students from different faculties, to publicize and make it known, trying to tell people that, because people have different challenges, and some of them term them as small, or they actually suffer with them in their rooms. And what disturbs is that their friends know, but they never report, or themselves know and they are being disturbed, but they never report. So, and when we try to address, maybe because of the stigma sometimes that comes with someone knowing that you belong to that, when you register, so you belong to the policy or the association, I would say, so people attach it with stigma, which is not right. Because at the end of the day, it's us students who benefit. It's you that the university stands in for, and we are not going to stand in for a student whom we don't know. You can't come up at the end of the day, you fail to do papers because of a particular problem that we can actually see right now, but you didn't address it at first. So that's why we come up to tell students that all these challenges that they think are chronic, they are disabilities, they could be physical, they could be psychological, they could be anything, name it, but you think it disturbs you, it may stop your progress, because we are here for academics. If it stops your progress academically, then better if you report it. We have our office, she manages it just like she has addressed it. You register there, and we get a way of helping whenever we can. Right now there are not so many things that we can actually do, but there are a number of things that we do. And the reason why we can't do so many things is because people are silent back there. We have no one to fight for. Because once you express your needs, even to the administration, there is no one to say this one is actually facing this. They need this kind of help. So we encourage these students, whatever challenge they have, here in MUST, in any other university, any school, it's very important to come up and express themselves and say, look, this is it. I go through this and I need help, because help is best.
So, Mr. Mwanga, you said you do some of the activities and others you don't. And I heard you say that when these students do not come out to surface and be able to belong, to have that sense of belonging with you. So now this brings up another question. Do you have a specific association or any organization that unites these people?
Yes.
And which activities were those that you're talking about that you always do?
Well, yes, we have a Persons with Disability Association at MUST.
Okay.
Now, when the policy was launched, yes, the association did come immediately, but along the way we've always fought to have it registered. And the reason why it took long is still because our members are out there facing challenges, but they can't come out. You can't register an association when you are only 2 people. So, but we thank God that currently we have it. And for the activities, yes, as persons with disabilities, we have different, issues to address. issues concerning our progress. So we organize workshops. We have had a number of them. Workshops where we go out there, or the last one that we had was in Chumuro. Students were transported. We had to talk about different things. We shared a lot. We have different meetings that we involve in. We involve ourselves in so many other engagements, for example, that are organized by the country. Sometimes if there is I remember Madam Stella used to call us for a recent one. Was it in Nyakayojo? Where she called, where there was a registration, and then some people had to go, but unfortunately by that time students were too busy, not so many attended. But there are so many other things that are in pipeline, depending on how students get to be engaged in this association.
Okay, I will later get back to you as you share with us more of the opportunities, because I see they have very many opportunities that they go unattended to. So back to the theme of the day, which is transformative solutions for inclusive development, the role of innovation in fueling an accessible and equitable world. To the District Educational Officer.
Yes.
So I would like you to take us through these. The inclusive development. Why do you think these people haven't been included? And show us how capable are they? We want those different ideologies that these people contribute to the economic development.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it. First of all, when we look at what people perceive people with disabilities, like, it is a little bit different, because why they have not been included quite a number of times, I think it has been due to negative attitude. And the negativity could have been brought by lack of awareness. Some people could not believe, like I earlier told you, people used to look at me and they could not believe, not until I did what they did not expect. Later, it's when they believe. Those who did not believe at first, when they saw me do it, then it's when they like, oh, he can also do it. So ideally, policies have been in place. It's true, but like my colleague had earlier shared with us, even the people with disabilities themselves sometimes don't come up strongly to show up or to tell what they are as such. But I would largely look at how our education setting and the provisions that we offer in institutions, because it would be from education institutions that these people are empowered, and they come up strongly to really advocate for their rights. Now, as now a member from the community, not as an officer this time around, we need to support these people right away from the start, because at education level, at the office level, it is too far. So I would probably look at local communities to begin, actually right away from the parents, because I've come to realize that even the parents try not to help their children with disabilities right away from the start, to come up, to support them, to look at their needs. You find a parent is having 2 children or 3 children, but he prefers supporting or giving educational services to those ordinary ones, then leaves behind the other one with a disability. When you turn to interact with such a parent, he will tell you, this one with a disability may not really do much, because they feel they don't expect a lot from them, so which is not true. Right away from home. Yes. Ideally, I would actually maybe comment that the transformation must begin from home. Yes, with the parents, then with the local community, with other support partners, and probably going higher like that. Because if, like, I want to help you, and I find that you don't know the kind of help you need, it is very, very difficult for me to offer the help. Because if we have not known these children right away from the start as parents, then who knows them better? Then the government is coming up strongly with the policies and legislations. Fine, they are there. But the people who are in the forefront to implement are also a little bit hesitant. Because when you get to a person, you begin telling him of issues to do with the disability, but he gives you a partial hearing, whereby he will always claim of the resources are not enough, let's first work on this and then we shall work on yours later. I think that one should be done away with, because these are people who need similar services like any other person.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. To Madam Stella, you talked about the policy that when you came back to the university, there was a policy that guided you and later gave you an inclusive environment. So I would like you to help us discuss some of the major action areas within the policy. For example, the employment sector, and maybe also the admission, how you admit these people, the affirmative action for the people with disability. I want you to take us through that and see how it is comfortable to be with a person with disability and you still do all your work and activities here, and education as well.
Thank you very much, Bridget. As I told you earlier, the policy is in place. It was inaugurated in 2019 June. And from that time, it had some implementation levels, level 1, level 2, and level 3. And now I've told you that we are around level 2. Why we are taking long to implement all the things to the end is about financial issues, financial challenges.
Yes.
Because mostly the disability is included in budgeting things. It is put together with others which are called cross-cutting issues. So we don't have a vote in itself that caters for disability. So whenever you are planning with others, and we look at the priority areas. Those which are not priority, we keep on leaving them behind. But however, Mbara University is on a good step now. For instance, when they are employing people, like the human resource, in the human resource manual, there is a section that caters for people living with the disability and how they should be employed and what they expect from them and what the university gives them. That section is there. The staff who are working here are well catered for, though there are some challenges, like we have not gotten to the level of giving them everything. Like for instance, if someone needs a helper, if those ones are also on the way, but they are not yet implemented. And for students, I told you on government sponsorship, there is a ticket for disability students. They come from Bakere University, they allocate them universities where to go. And at a rate of, like, we normally get like around 4-6 per year. And those ones are facilitated. Their tuition is catered for. Their accommodation. So that one you can see we are going on very well with them. And whatever they cannot be managed around the university, like accessibility issues, like other assistive devices, we try to look at them and what is available, what we can afford for like accessibility. If there is money, they make access ways for them. For assistive devices, normally we have not gone to the level of giving them one, but at least as a university, they are like projectors for those people who normally cannot see very well. They sit in front and they can get some clear information as other students, and in examination when they don't have a lot of speed in writing, they give them some extra time. The Mbara University has a very good policy which caters for a student when she is already here or here. Yeah, thank you very much.
I don't know whether I heard it so clearly. Is the policy is not yet fully implemented?
We are implementing it in steps.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So are there any networks that you create, the collaborations, that the partnerships with other maybe organizations, big NGOs or the government, so that these students are always opened up to very many opportunities?
Yeah, thank you very much, Bridget. As my fellow friend was talking about that they were invited in some places, we go to these people who cater for people living with disabilities. Presently, we are working with the Tukore Invalid Salvation Stream, though they changed it to Inclusive Salvation Stream. We are working with them and even ours, Ruharo, on a project which will assist all the students in higher institutions of learning to see that they are catered for by first looking at creating data and looking at their needs, so that we know what to present to, if they are funders, and what they can give us to sustain these students at the higher institutions of learning.
Okay. Our educational officer, Mr. Abel.
Yes, please.
So I would like you to tell us what are some of these big opportunities that our students, that our community members should raise to grab from the district level?
Wow, thank you so much, Bridget. Of course, I would look at. First of all, I'm encouraged by the government, like through policies and legislations I have actually told you about. But I'm looking at various programs that the government has come up with. Especially, we look at special disability grant. There is a special disability grant at the district every financial year, and that grant normally is given out to groups of people with disabilities who are well organized, and they are actually cherishing some income generating activities in their places of, their local places. So if these groups are well organized and are doing some work, they can benefit from that. Secondly, there are other government programs like apparently now we talk of PDM. PDM also has a provision of people living with disabilities. That one is also an opportunity. We also have a provision for students attaining higher education with disabilities. There is also some portion for them. So only that you will find that it is a limited number. It has not served many as such, but at least it can be pronounced some level. Then also we look at maybe partnering with other people, not necessarily from the district, through the office of the district community development officer. There is a lot we can get from there in terms of getting information. So the office is open, be it the office of the education officer in charge of special needs at the district, we still can access some information that we can get some services elsewhere. So I think that's all I can say about the opportunities that are available so far.
But are these people aware, or it just remains in the office?
Some are aware, but the majority are not aware, because like it has earlier been said, even the people that would actually would be looking for the services do not come out. But I would actually largely now look at our local leaders, because it would be through our local leaders that they would get information. But even some of our local leaders, to your dismay, I have to say this: do not involve them. Do not, have time for them to tell them where they can get the relevant service. But when it comes to the Office of Education, I think there is a lot that we are doing, because when we go down into schools, first of all, we interact with the heads of schools and institutions. We interact with members of the committees that constitute the management of the schools. They are aware. However, there is a very big challenge in education institutions whereby we largely lack teachers who have trained in special needs education, who would actually handle and deal with these learners with special needs and disabilities. Quite often we have always found learners in schools, fine, they are integrated, they are trying to learn, but where there is a need for specialized service, it is a little bit a challenge. So my appeal generally is there should be support, a great support to build capacity of all teachers, not some teachers, all teachers, because these children are in all schools. Learners with special needs are in all schools. Gone are the days when we used to hear of Tukore, invalid, whatever. I hate that word, invalid. It is an inclusive school.
It has also been beating up my mind.
Yes, that one is colloquial, and I think we have gone away. We have shifted from that to an inclusive school. So therefore, if all teachers would be given the capacity, given the skills to identify and assess learners with special needs, then they would be giving them the relevant educational service as such, which is still lacking basically here in Mbarara.
So now, since we have this scarcity of these teachers, they are very few.
Yeah.
Do you think that it would be a very good idea for these people with disability to join only schools of the other people with disability, or at a free time you can join any other school just like other students?
Thank you so much, Bridget. I think when I reflect on myself, I studied from an ordinary school. I did not study from a special school, and I feel I'm proud of where I studied from, because I've interacted with all kinds of people, as I may say, and yet I have a disability. I would actually largely be in the idea of training with ordinary learners. A child with special needs should be training with those ordinary ones, because they need support from each other.
What about the aspect of teachers?
Of teachers?
Yes.
Yes, teachers would be in inclusive schools as well. Because I will give you a scenario whereby you will find in a class there are two teachers at the same time.
Okay.
A teacher is teaching in front, and an assistant teacher may be using sign language for those who are not hearing the teacher there. They are getting the information from the assistant teacher, and they are doing the same work at the same time. And this is something great, because even in doing so, you will realize that even the learners there who may not be having the special need of hearing impairment, they are able even to acquire skills from sign language, interpreter there. And it would mean that there will be some sense of inclusiveness, in the sense that in terms of communication, those ones who are not having special needs, they are able to communicate using sign language with those ones maybe having the special need of hearing impairment. Therefore, that one brings a sense of inclusiveness to me. because they are able to integrate, they are able to communicate, they are able to express their needs able with the rest of the learners and with the rest of the teachers. And you will find that even a teacher who has the skill or the skills of helping learners with special needs or teaching learners with special needs still is the same teacher who still can help the ordinary ones at the same time. I, for one, I can teach learners with special needs as well as those other ordinary ones. What wrong will I have done? I think it is an extra advantage or an extra opportunity on the side of the teachers. That's what I feel.
Okay.
Yes.
So back to Mr. Wanda Justice, as you were telling us about the opportunities and the way how people hide from disclosing the fact that they have certain disabilities. I think they're always affected by also another aspect of discrimination. Maybe they do not want to be discriminated and then they decide to keep silent and take it to themselves. Or maybe, let me take this example when it is not visible. So I won't disclose it for people to know. I will just stay silent in order not to be discriminated. So how do we address discrimination among students living with disability?
Well, just like our call it a motto for the policy at Master, disability is a mindset. It's totally work of a mindset. We've been using the word students with disability and maybe those who are ordinary. Ordinary, I would call them those who don't have anything, I would say. Now, first of all, they need to understand that, now I'm talking about the ordinary. They need to understand that this is a community and we need to accommodate everyone with everything or whatever thing they are going through or whoever they are. That's now a mindset change to the ordinary students. That, well, a colleague has this kind of problem, but actually, instead of discriminating them, you have to find a way of helping them. For example, being in meetings and students are telling us, I can't see, I can't walk fast, but even when I go to class, normal students, ordinary students, fight maybe for the front seats and they can't let this person have the front seat so that they can view very well. Now that
Do you
is
think that these people should always have specific seats in their classroom?
exactly.
Won't that make them belong to a certain group whereby still the other students will look at them as disabled?
How is it going to come? It is going to come in by us as a class. For example, if I'm in the MLS class, if my colleagues know that I have a problem with my vision, I don't think the best thing they can do for me is to discriminate me and maybe call me blind. It's not good that way. It's better they understand that actually, you know what, justice doesn't see very far. So in most, when I come and request for a seat, you definitely have to understand that I just need vision. I need to see, so I can't see from far. Likewise, any other problem that anyone can have. I mean, it's a world where we need to cooperate. At the end of the day, I'm not going to force someone not to have stigma over me. It's their mind, it's their mindset. Someone has to change their mindset and know that, yes, actually, he has that problem, but actually he can push on and I can support him in this way. If he needs this, if he needs a push, maybe a wheelchair, I can actually push it to class and we study together. It's a mindset that everyone has to change and know that we can live together and support each other.
Okay.
And this goes back also to our lecturers. Yes, the district education officer was addressing. Some of the lecturers are aware and they ably support. But I want to make this disclaimer that actually some are not aware and they don't support. And that is not very good because so many times we've had students complaining, and actually they have, I would say, problems that are visible, everyone can see, but the lecturer is not willing to support. That is also not good. We don't know the rationale for that, but we request that as our elders in the institution, they portray this to even the students, to show them that actually, you see, I can teach you all, but with that kind of cooperativity, so that we can.
That takes me back to a time when I was still a student and it was orientation week.
Yes.
I happened to talk to one of the students. Yeah, she was able to disclose to me her problems, since we were the ones allocating them to different offices. And when I tried to help in, like, maybe let me take you to the respective office, she was like, no, they will discriminate me, don't take me.
Yes.
But still I had to go ahead, tell the dean, I'm like, there is this and this student, and they looked for her. So I think sometimes we have to do for them what is right, and it's up to them to either take it up or ignore it. So back to Mrs. Taylor. How is the infrastructure of this mighty university? Does it affect some of the students and even staff that are affected with any kind of disability? Especially those maybe with wheelchairs or,
Yeah, thank you very much. The infrastructure is a very big issue. However, there has been some modifications on some walkways, but in these old buildings where there are steps, it is still difficult to access the upper rooms because they like someone with a wheelchair, but some students are understanding enough that they will help their other fellow students to go there. But in the new infrastructures, they are putting ramps and a lift. So it is going to be okay with most of these new infrastructures, and these ones which are not yet modified can be worked on.
okay.
Yeah.
That is good. So as we wind up, I would like us to give our own ideologies on how to get the transformative solutions to some of the challenges that have been going on, especially within the setting of students. I'll take it to the students level because we are dealing with MUST, and also we hosted someone from the education department. So starting with you, as we wind up your last remarks, and do not forget to give your own thought about how we can create transformative solutions.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much. In conclusion, or with my remarks, I would want to thank everyone out there that comes out to, support persons with disabilities. And yes, just like the way I've stated it, that's how it is supposed to be. Persons living with disability, but not disabled people. That is very dangerous. It cripples the entire idea right at that point. So these are just people that are living with disability, but actually they can do a lot with these disabilities. So all we need is to give them the necessary, appropriate support for them to push, just like any other person. I may not do it the same faster way like you do it, but I'll actually do it. So as students at the university, we need to support each other. We need to know that, well, this policy exists, and we can enroll. The office is there, just like she said, in the office of the Dean of Students. So anything, whatever it is that you think would stop or hinder you from progressing very well as a student in a university or in a learning institution, look out for whoever is ready to help you and address your issue, and surely you'll be helped. And we pray that this goes on towards on and on, so that we can have more and more people come on board, and then let the world see that actually, yes, we can do a lot despite our disabilities. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your ideas, Madam Stella.
Okay. Thank you very much, Bridget. And I'm very grateful for Mbara University, which allowed to take up responsibilities through policy implementation. And I call upon all those people who are researchers to start looking at disability for some innovative ideas to help them have some assistive devices to see how these students can be assisted in class as others, so that even if they are slow learners or they can write slowly, people can make some decoders, people can make some things to assist those students, so that when they go back, they can learn by themselves using those decoders. I pray that even the staff who are involved in research take up research on disability issues and how to help them do things as other people, normal people, like they were saying, ordinary people. Because most of the time you find that, yes, I cannot run so fast, but given some assistive device I can, like I normally see some people who are very good people who run and on the world scale, but with sometimes amputated legs, but they give them some assistive devices. So I pray that they look into those venture into innovations that can help people living with disabilities to cope with the situation. Thank you very much.
Something that I didn't ask you about that has just come back into my mind. How do you go by the people with visual impairments in class? Do you give them extra time? Do you give them extra papers? How do you go about it?
When a student is registering, we give them a form and they put what they would need the university to assist them. If you have visual impairment and that you want to have very big prints, they can do it for you.
Okay.
Yeah, if you want to sit near so that you can read on the board, they do it for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. The district education officer, what do you say in the last 3 months?
Oh, thank you so much, Bridget, once again. I would actually say that when we create a good environment for a person with disability, it becomes a better one for all. Because when we look at how we want people with disabilities also to move from a step to another, we have actually to focus largely on education. Now I'm looking at the environment right away from primary level, where these children start their education from, and the infrastructure, like we have been saying, we need to improve it. And disability is a cross-cutting issue whereby it should be taken up. It is a responsibility for everyone. Let there not be let those people help them, not really. It must be a collective responsibility whereby even a parent, maybe a development partner, government, maybe the religious leader, all people must come on board to address this. Because disability is funny, like we are talking about. One may think that it is far from him, whereas it is just next to him. Because we have seen so many people who have already said, so and so is a person with disability, but in a minute he becomes a case. Therefore, we need to address it much more, jealously, because if we don't, we shall find ourselves being, the people to suffer. So lastly, I would also really appreciate the support of people who really support people with disabilities. Because quite often people have always said there are no resources, but there are some people out there of goodwill who actually solicit resources and they help. So I think I would largely appeal to everyone to be a donor to support a person with disability. Yeah.
So before we conclude,
Yes, please.
that also takes me to these other people, and there are people that have been living with disability, but they use that as an excuse of actually not even to work, but to wait for assistance.
Yes, you are right. You are right, Bridget. There are people who want to depend on others, and yet they would be having the capacity also to participate in some activity or the other, maybe for survival. There could be there. But it largely depends on where that person has, grown from. Because if you have not been supporting this person to a level that he develops self-confidence to perform on his own, he will always largely, want to be fed. He will always want to be supported all the time and all that. But when we look at the setting of education, we actually agitate for self-reliance of every character, of every learner later in life, whereby we don't need to limit participation of these learners in all activities. Because quite often we have been to schools, let's say, you find a teacher is giving an activity to children or students, but he's like, let James not participate in this activity. It is not right. Let James participate to his own level, but don't blame him for not having participated at the same level like the ordinary ones. Because there you will have built the sense of, confidence in this guy to perform on his own. Even when you are not there, he will perform. Yes.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing. And thank you all for coming to AET TV. We are humbled to have you here.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much to the viewers who started with us. It is AET TV with your girl, Bridget and Samantha. We are always here every day at 5 and at 6 p.m. for the 16 days of activism, commemorating on the elimination of all forms of gender-based violence. We meet next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you.